Hi everyone, welcome to the Spin Cycle podcast. It's the podcast talking to the personalities, the brands, and the groups that make the UK and London an incredible place to be a cyclist. We've got a pretty incredible group with us today. Go Fast, Turn Left, GFTL. You may know them from their incredibly early starts in Regent. You may know them from Skin Suits Only. And we've got Chris, Ivan, and George on with us today, talking about themselves, how the club started, and then we're going to do a bit of a Q&A as usual at the end. So, guys, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Nice. So we do section one generally, just kind of, knowing who you are. I've got a vague understanding from maybe some of our interactions of WhatsApp and from social media, but Chris, maybe we start with you. How did you, who are you as a person? How did you get into cycling?
Yeah, thanks for having us on, guys. I got into cycling unconventionally. I think maybe it's most people's way. And me and Ivan are old school friends, and we were trying to find a way other than skating to stay in contact and hang out. He suggested going for a bike ride, and that's when we discovered Regent's Park and the kind of hostility and the elitism that you can see in cycling. I think it's still quite prevalent. We were riding around in t-shirts, trainers, and oversized hoodies, and a BMX helmet. That's the important feature. And we're just trying to jump onto these fast pace lines, which look awesome. From when you're a commuter, you see these guys kitted out and just riding for the speed, and that was the hook. From that point, we tried to jump onto a couple of these pace lines and just found there was no welcome. Maybe safety concerns, they don't know who's riding with them, but there's no way in. How do you get from commuter and enjoying cycling to this next step? There was no in between. And that's when we thought we need to start something here and fill this gap.
Amazing. How about Ivan? How about you? How did you similar sort of thing? I guess right. Did you catch the cycling bug a bit quicker? Were you quicker to embrace it, or were you kind of on a similar sort of journey?
Yeah, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, cycling's kind of been around my life for a while. It's always kind of been there. I used to skate, like Chris said. And we used to go to the skate spot, and we used to BMX together, and so that was just a cool way to like get around. And yeah, I kind of sort of BMX for a little while, and then went into work, took some time off, kind of lost touch with cycling, and then it wasn't till maybe like 2016, 2017, where I was spending a lot of money on travel.
Okay.
And I wanted to basically commute to work, but for less money. So it's funny how it started.
Yeah.
Were you in the office 5 days a week?
I was, yeah, at the time. And I think I was spending something like £150 for a monthly travel card.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, well, if I put that money aside for 1 month, maybe I could get a fixed gear bike. They're pretty cheap, easy to maintain, can get me from A to B.
That's pure cycling maths as far as I'm concerned. That's the most pure form of cycling maths.
And yeah, like I said, I told myself that it's going to save me money.
Yeah.
Be a lot cheaper. I'll get fitter, probably beat the train in the end. And yeah, it kind of like filled that need for kind of being fitter and also seeking adrenaline. and I kind of loved it ever since then.
Amazing.
And yeah, that was kind of my pathway into cycling, before finding Strava and bib shorts, and yeah, escalating from there.
And George, how about you? How did you get into cycling specifically?
Well, I used to cycle as a kid. Like when I spent summers at my grandma's house, had like a BMX and just go around with the boys. But that was back in Latvia. Yeah, I started like riding in uni, and then I continued the ones moving to London after I graduated. I remember I bought this first bike. It was a Specialized Langster and chromoly steel. It got stolen within 2 months of moving to London. I thought I spent a lot of money on it. It was like £300 back in 2012, I think.
So I remember those days. I remember the days flicking open a copy of Cycling Weekly and it's Lance Armstrong's Trek Madone, and it was £1,500.
Yeah.
And I said to my dad, "Wow, look at this bike," and he was like, "Yeah, you're having a laugh, mate. No one's ever said a bike like that. Yeah, you're having a laugh."
Yeah, I thought the bike should be like £50.
Yeah, tops.
And then I became like a serial commuter. Because I used to row, I was quite fit on the bike, and then straight after rowing, I decided I need to do triathlon. So commuting was a no-brainer. More time on the bike. The gym next to my work cost like £50, and that was 3 times cheaper than a travel card.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go there and shower and change, and plus you get a gym. But I actually was only there for the locker.
Amazing.
I did a quick maths, worked out how much I'll be saving. Like it's like it was like a 10% increase to the salary. Yeah, I just started like commuting a lot. Any weather. I remember back then I didn't like any winter clothing. Like the legs were blue in the winter. It's like rain. You just get spare shoes and socks and just arrive in the office.
So when you guys were commuting, did you ever get punctures and think, how am I going to change this tire?
All the time. I mean, I used to get punctures quite often, and then I would just Google where the nearest like Evans was, and just walk my bike there. Back then I wasn't in cleats as well. It was just like trainers, some sort of gym shorts, a skate helmet like Chris mentioned. So yeah, a proper strong look.
Yeah, I remember I discovered pretty quickly that Kenda tires are not it. You're not going to get far. And then your life changes once you discover gator skins and you think that these are the best tires. Why would anyone buy anything else? Like you could ride a whole year on it and there's like not a single puncture.
I mean, I still don't really know when I get a puncture. It was only last year. I'm still calling up Ivan. When we're supposed to meet at 6, they're already looping. And I'm calling him saying I got a puncture and I'm 10 minutes away. And then the mobile Ivan comes and sorts me out.
Chris still doesn't have a mini pump.
Yeah, exactly.
It's extra weight. And everyone's always got one on them. So,
have you noticed that commuting? So I sometimes used to commute from Wimbledon to my office in the city, and like pre-COVID, it was fairly regular, but kind of post-COVID, it's turned into the commuting World Championships.
We were asking each other the other day, when was the last time you remember somebody passing you on a commute?
Those days
Personally, I can't remember.
Depends on the day. If it's a Wednesday and I've ruined myself on a Tuesday, it's likely. But if I check the bike and it's a Boris bike, it will sting and I'll have to squeeze any power I've got left just to get back round. I don't know what it is. It hurts.
So,
Well, yeah, commuting is its own sport.
Yeah, there's always like by the lights or somewhere where you stop. There's always like a silent agreement. You don't have to like say anything, but you just know. Once the light goes green, that's it. You're off.
I came a cropper last week at the lights. So like by round like Holloway Road when I was going back up north. I got chopped by a line bike. She was going. I thought everyone was going straight, and then she like turned right at the last minute in front of a guy who. I was like, if you're going to be riding a 10 grand bike in your civvies, then I expect better bike handling from that. And he just slammed on his brakes, and I just like hit his front wheel. You know, it's the classic: you press your brakes, your back wheel's up, and you're like, I know what's about to happen, and it's in front of everyone at like 8:45 in the morning, and you're just like. You know, you get up like you're in like the Tour de France and you like roll off like nothing's happened. And then I was just like, saw that blood was coming down from my knee. And it was the second time I'd worn my brand new like winter tights. And I was just like fucking fuming. But thank God for lacquer. That lacquer claim's coming in.
Chicks dig scars, bro. Chicks dig scars. Right, let's head to a break then.
Welcome back, everyone. So, Ivan, how did GFTL start?
So it started probably like 2017, 2018 kind of time. Chris and I were cycling together for a long time before this. And we were kind of starting to take cycling a little bit more seriously, building up the miles, trying to train a little bit more. And at that time, we were part of London Dynamo. We were looking for loads of clubs around London, and it seemed like one of the biggest clubs at that time. And so we joined together to kind of, get fitter, faster, and try and get a bit more knowledge. Because even during that time, we were sort of riding around and new to cycling, but didn't really know the kind of etiquette or the rules yet. We were fairly new, I'd say maybe like, year and a half in kind of thing. Just commuting about, racing each other, racing
Strava
everyone.
Segment Explorer.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to compete for segments. And yeah, we spent about a year at London Dynamo together, doing various kind of club rides. And after about a year, I decided to leave the club. I didn't really feel connected, and I felt like there was something missing. Like I had a great time there. Some of the rides were really cool and people I met, but it just felt like, well, back then there wasn't really anyone kind of young really in the sort of cycling space, in the sense of that there would be loads of kind of 40s plus type riders or fresh juniors coming into the sport, and there was no kind of middle ground.
So no millennials, basically.
Yeah, in a way. And so it also just felt a little bit rigid and restrained in the typical kind of cycling club fashion.
Quite traditional.
And I mean, Chris and I obviously coming from kind of skate backgrounds, it's a bit more rogue and maverick, and you kind of make your own rules a little bit. And there was nothing in the sport or in the scene at the time that was like that. And so I transitioned over to RCC. I decided to go with them because I saw that they had an app where you could log rides. And I thought that would be a cool way to, use their app to log the ride, to try and get people who are like-minded to come and join and basically smash around the park. in a nutshell.
So when was the first Smash sesh that you organised?
So I ended up getting RCC membership for Christmas off my mum, funnily enough. And so the very first ride was in January 2018. So nice and warm. Perfect for a Smash Fest. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the very first ride was Chris, myself, and this guy called Will who was cycling with Rafa at the time.
Yeah.
And we just did a three-man chain gang, not chain gang, pace line, around the park, just trying to smash each other to bits, really, and see who could last the longest.
Can you remember what lap times you had back then?
7 minutes.
Check Strava.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely probably not even a sub 7, to be honest. Yeah, and then kind of it sort of grew from then, kept advertising it weekly, and slowly people kind of started to come, join the rides, enjoy the kind of brutal nature of it.
Yeah.
I think another appeal of it was there was a difference in how we promoted the ride. James, one of the other founders, he liked to play around with the terminology and just chuck in things that are left-centered. So he'd talk about the left side of the brain is the most creative, and centrifugal forces of traveling around Regent's Park anti-clockwise inspire you and have just a great start to the day. Just shit like that. Anything just to, create a bit more fun in the sport. I felt you just turn up, everyone says hello, everyone's a little bit nervous, but icebreakers like that just made it a bit more, okay, there's room to fuck around here. These guys are cool. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, there was no bullshit or elitism. It was just it was meant to be a ride that's open to all.
Not taking it too seriously.
Yeah, you're just there to smash and go fast and have a good time.
Yeah,
really.
you can't really do wrong.
How did you get attracted to GFTL then, George?
I was also I joined the RCC, and I was I want to have a good time. And I was like, look what's app got to offer. I looked at the timetable. It's this Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. Go faster and less. And the main thing was I think it was the only ride that said advanced drop. It was
oh yeah, I remember that was a setting on the app.
Yeah, because everything else was too social, 25k an hour. It's nah, I'm just not about it. I had a little break from triathlon, and my fitness wasn't there, and I really wanted to just get fit again. So I remember, I don't know how long you've been doing it before I came. It was was it early days?
It was pretty early.
Because I think I came in February. So. Then you must have started in January, but I thought also on the RCC app you could see the organizer, and Ivan had his red cyclocross bike. Though I don't think there was a picture of you, or you couldn't see it, but it just said Ivan Drovnin created this ride. I was I'll look for a guy on a red bike that looks Russian. So I turned up and I got my ass handed to me. I remember just
good times, man.
Ivan's a tall guy. He's 6'4", and I remember I picked his wheel in the rotation, and I thought he's big. I'll get a good draft. But it was the worst position because the guy was just pulling so hard. I was fuck.
See you next Tuesday.
Back then, I was looking. It was 43k an hour. I was this is madness. How long am I gonna? It's February. It's really cold. Your lungs are burning. It's nah.
How did because if you got the men and the women's record as we speak?
Yeah. Now we do.
Yeah, I saw that. How did? I guess it's a progression of where you started, right? Because, like you said, you turn up and it was one of the early ones that was advanced drop ride, essentially a total smash fest, and it was 6:30 in the morning. When did the conversation start about, actually, I think we've got something quite good here. I think we can take the records. How did that progress?
Well, I think because of the light-hearted nature of it and the inclusivity of anyone's welcome to come and test themselves, we quickly found that there was a community developing. People were just interested in turning up and being quite natural, and that created a lot of trust, a lot of friendship. And this small community, it felt fitting to have a kit, and it just so happened that Rafa released the customs shop. So we approached them. Ivan's a fantastic designer. It's all he does in his spare time, apart from accounting. And he just sent us this designer's blueprint of a blue kit. I mean, we went through about 50 editions. And
yeah, I remember when it just came out. Ivan came out with like 50. Yeah, like
I was spamming that.
we had like
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp group full of random jerseys with all sorts of iterations.
And the beautiful thing was they put them on this model so it looks lifelike. This dream is coming alive. It felt like a dream just because you're establishing something. Putting a jersey and colours to an idea in a community just felt right at the time. And then once we had that first ride all in blue, it just felt like, yep, this is it. Everyone became a little bit more serious about the idea. And
yeah, the kind of joke like started becoming a reality.
Yeah,
because we'd always debrief in Rafa and be like, "Oh, can you imagine if we like set up a club and started to do this properly?" And like, "Oh yeah, maybe one day."
Yeah, at that time, like RCC was disbanding a little bit. They kind of like they used to have like a race team, and then they started changing the membership, and then it became less about like they started changing the view on the community. So I think there were a lot of people who felt like, oh, we're better off like having something of our own.
Yeah. And are you able to walk us through the lap attempt, maybe men's or women's is most recent, right? That was 2 months ago or so. Because it's quite a high level thing. I think the 3 big segments in the UK, I think Box Hill's the biggest segment globally. And I think Regent's might be the second of the most done segment in the world, from what I understand. Because it's quite big having the both of them. Can you walk us through a record attempt, maybe the female record attempt, because it was most often? What's the planning on that? How does that actually happen? Because it's a fairly high level thing for somebody to do nearly 400 or 500 watts for 5 minutes, essentially.
There is one guy who just tells us when is the best weather and it's time to go, and we assemble like Avengers positions for a 4:45 and smash a fast lap.
Really?
The men's one was taken from first attempt.
Well, to add a bit more meat to that story.
That's the tagline.
That's the clip.
Don't disclose too many secrets. Only after they set up the speed bumps, you know. Full reveal.
We've got to give a huge shout out to Will Taylor, who was the architect and kind of master commander of organising this group of mavericks to be at a certain place at a certain time and be ready to perform at the highest level. Because it's one thing going around together and trying to beat your own personal records, but when there's a target set and it feels like the pinnacle of our origins. I mean, the parody of the name and the parody of the club, Go Fast, Turn Left, we had to embody that and have to just take the crown. It just felt like the right thing to do. It felt like the end point. Not that this is the end point. But Will would let us know when the weather was perfect. We turn up, and George would then take the captain's hat and shout at everyone to make sure it's in the right place at the right time. We were 1 second off with Charlotte's KOM attempt, and he lost his shit. He was shouting at everyone. No one could calm him down. And it took Charlotte just to look at him and say, George, that's enough. We're 1 second off. Let's go again. And she was the most determined one out of all of us. She'd have to complete each lap because we'd give her a lead out one by one coming off. Yet she was the most eager to go again when we wouldn't have achieved the attempt. So,
Amazing.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I mean, we were thinking about it from like, we always had an idea, but because we're like so disorganized, it never, because we are not a rigid club, it's just very hard to put like what 8-10 boys and girls like together to when the weather is right, the air pressure is right, the wind is blowing in the right direction, which is usually like twice a year. If you're not there at like 4 a.m. Or 5 a.m., it's not gonna happen. And we had like few attempts over the last few years, but yeah, it didn't like work out. But this year it did.
It's incredible. It's really impressive. Having both.
Yeah, it's like a long time coming, but I feel like our strength was growing over the years, like compared to other clubs. Just organic growth.
There's
Be
a bit more
fun,
pressure this year.
go fast, and people will come.
Wheel suckers were prodding us and asking when we were going to have a go. And I think the morning of the attempt, we texted one of them saying, "Yeah, sorry."
And you have to give credit when it's due. It wasn't just us. We had guys from other clubs helping us. Like Leo from Trash Mile, James. Well, he's not with RPR anymore. Who else we had?
Luca.
Yeah, Luca.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a few like free agents.
Mercenaries.
There are people in the park who they
Guns.
don't have allegiance to anyone, but they are fast. They're like, almost like
hired
mercenaries.
goons.
Yeah.
And Jay?
And unless they like you, you can't convince them to help you.
As your club grows, you'll have more people within it, and with that, conflict can arise. Chris, how do you deal with conflict at GFTL?
We grow quite naturally, and I think I'm quite conscious of the club expanding beyond its means. So we have a fairly selective process of how we recruit members. So before any conflict arises, I try to mitigate that from the onset by making sure that each prospective member understands what they're coming into, expectations. So once you're in, you've almost been vetted socially, and whether you can handle potential banter that involves in the club, so that no one's hurt and that sort of thing. But you can't control everything, and not everyone gets along all the time. Saying that, though, I can't think of any issues that we've had with members against each other. Anything's really resolved on the road. If there's something that you don't like in someone, it's generally smoothed over. The one thing in terms of social responsibility and welfare, just for BC licensing, I had to be the welfare officer. So I took a series of courses, and I have a qualification and a piece of paper.
You can handle kids.
This just means that we can have under 18s on our rides, and that it's a safe place.
It's good to
But
hear.
otherwise,
So yeah, anyone's under 18 and interested in going fast, turning left, positions corner.
6 o'clock.
Yeah. So speaking of which, Speaking of which, how do people join GFTL? I know you've kind of got a vetting process before you become a member. I know you guys relatively well, and some people you ride with, and I think you could probably call it a no dickheads policy, like they do at Team Ineos. How do let that one sit for a while? How do people join the club? You know, what sort of level do you have to be? Ivan, why didn't you? Because I know you kind of were a bit of a beacon. You're a very tall man, so people can easily seek you out. Why don't you let us know how people can join the level? You know, what people can expect on their first ride with GFTL.
Absolute shellings. The way, yeah, I mean, it's been quite true to how it's formed in the way that people join.
Mm-hmm.
So as we've had to kind of formalize as a club, yeah, we've kind of had to think about a structure of sorts. The way you can kind of join is I think top criteria is you have to have a sub 6 lap, and we just require commitment. So when I say commitment, as in you don't necessarily have to have the sub 6 lap straight away. It might happen on the ride or later down the time.
Mm-hmm.
But so long as you kind of come week by week, show your face, kind of assess the vibe and get along with people, ride safely, but also fast, then yeah, I feel like that's kind of you almost already know that you're kind of part of the club without it being formal. I feel people come and they just enjoy their time there and kind of then reach out either on Insta or through BC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a 2-stage process. The sub 6 criteria we think is the most valuable because it's the foundation of our club. Just the ceremony of completing laps, going to Rafa, uploading to Strava, and just seeing whether we've hit that benchmark, that was what founded our initial bond and our drive. It's not easy getting up during a work week, before work, and just going out and working out in the park, which is essentially what it is. Because of that whole novelty and the fun of it and that attainment, it just added to this drive and energy. And I think that's important for every member to experience. On the one hand, it's a level of riding ability, just so you know what to expect, and that'll be the baseline. But I think it's important for everyone to experience what we experience on Foundation, and I think that's what brings us all together. So attain the sub 6, ride with us for a few weeks, and from that point, an invitation will be extended, and you're part of the community.
Yeah, be social, talk to people. You need to basically, how do you join a friends group? You can't just walk in, pay membership, and be like, "I'm your new member. You have to like look after me." Like it's you have to be like social.
Say hello to as many people as you can. Introduce yourself to as many people you can, and just in the process of doing so, you'll feel like a member because you've got to meet as many people as you can, and you're in.
Yeah, maybe I press being social too much. We have like members who are like more quiet or reserved, but it's generally you filter for people who are not joining just for the sake of joining. They actually want to be there.
Also, just to finish, I think on the sub 6 lap,
how much more clear can I be? It has to be a sub 6 club. Sub 6.
If it helps, I have a 6:03 lap. I could have gone under, but I don't want to seem like a bragger. So technically,
no, mate, that's not that. That's the gear cable rubbing into the carbon fiber around your bottom bracket. That's why you're not getting a sub 6 lap.
No, I'm sure when I do my inner circles on Tuesday, which I haven't done in a while, and you all whiz past me, I'm sure that's they can probably hear it. That's why I get such a nice wide berth from GFTL. They can like my warning noise.
Can't say we're not safe.
And then I guess the final section on this, I got a good story about what I'm about to ask you. How did your GFTL rave club start?
That's a separate podcast.
I think just naturally formed of you're sharing a bond in just pressing each other to the limit. There's a playful element to it. George has been into techno, and I think he was the driver in setting up an initial night out.
I have another friend, Andre, who basically me and him were going out to raves and Printworks for like a while, and then I kind of like looked at the members in the club who would be keen to like race and rave on the same day.
It's the same discipline.
I think like what you said before is the fact that, you know, when people join, we're almost like friends. Even though we're kind of labeled as members, you're in some way friends. And so you just naturally kind of progress into, I guess,
like probably like 90% of people in a club, I can go for a drink one-on-one because you like the people and you want to hang out. It's not always about being like in a big group. Yeah, most of us, I feel like, are connected on a personal level. That it's not that you just communicate when you're like doing laps in a big group. You can meet after work. It's social like that.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to have, I guess, off the bike activities. Little game show for you. Which GFTL member did I meet in a club in Hackney Wick after Cam's wedding? What was it?
Hackney Wick.
Yeah. Who do you think would be in a rave in Hackney Wick?
I reckon it's Will.
Will?
It was Otto. And when he saw the funniest thing, right, is so we were at Cam's wedding, and then 3 of us went to the Dolphin in Stoke Newington, and then we're like, let's go to Hackney Wick, and we went into like the Yard Theatre, and I remember it was probably about like 1 or 2 in the morning. We are all still wearing wedding clothes, so I'm like in a suit, and then we're like going out into the smoking area, and then just like lock eyes with like Otto, and he's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you are here. Do you know what night this is? We know what night we've just walked into." And it was just like, this is so good. Like, wow. Like, he was like so excited to see us like at this night because it's like he'd crafted it for like months and he was waiting for it. And then us three have just randomly turned up. And I was like, I have no idea who's even DJing.
Otto is one of our youngest members and like represents the spirit of GFTL. He was one of the early members of GFTL rave team.
It's going strong. And with that, we'll go to a break.
Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm going to do some quick fire questions at the end, and then we'll let the boys get on. So I guess I probably know the answer to this one, but what do you guys think is more pro? Do you think it's Richmond Park or Regent's Park?
Is that a trick question? Regents.
Yeah, hands down.
Can't be Richmond with its current infrastructure.
It's a playground.
Better place for walking a dog.
We're looking for a new cafe spot in London. What cafe spots would you recommend? What's your favourite?
Start with One Shot. I think they've been there from the beginning for us. They've just been so accepting of the fact that 20 guys walk in with their bikes looking for a place to park. We reshuffle their furniture, and it looks better for us. We've got nice bikes all around. But for anyone else coming in just for their pre-work coffee and croissant, it's a bit of a sight. but they've got sofas in there, and I think if you're there any day other than a Tuesday, you'll be allowed in. You can watch your bike as there in front of you, and you can be warm. It's winter now.
Ivan, would you agree with Chris's recommendation?
I personally like Fortitude. I like their morning buns.
Never been.
They should bring in Klarna, the Fortitude. I don't think many people can afford Fortitude.
It is pricey. What's £10 for like a bun and a coffee?
Yeah.
So.
Try bag around there. Came to like £22 the other day for me.
Oh my god.
The cafe, the inner circle, is like pretty shit.
I don't think
So
I've
much
actually
potential.
been there. The amount of time I spent in the park, I've never actually
It's such it's a waste of space. Like they could have they could be making
a
bank
velodrome.
every day. Yeah, they could have a velodrome and it opens too late. No good selection of food, really. Yeah, we have this ride on Fridays, which we've been thinking about opening up to public, probably next season. It's called Fat Fridays, which was started by Otto, because he's our coffee and bakery connoisseur.
Yeah, he had like a list of like 20 bakeries that he shortlisted.
So he'll post on Discord every Thursday night where we're going on Friday. Usually it's like in summer and spring when the weather is nice. So we meet up for social laps, looking at Chris, at 7 on Friday morning. Do like an hour of inner circle. Like people who want to chat, just chat. Chris just does his thing, chasing his own tail around Guinness. And then we go around 8. We go to our cafe of our selection and try out coffee. We could go as far as like Ladbroke Groves or like somewhere in North London.
So I mean, I guess in the pursuit of excellence, there's a lot of crap along the way. For you guys, what do you think's your overrated cycling product? For me, it's oversized pulley wheels.
Overrated. Some people like them.
Nah, me and Hambini, we're not fans.
Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna pay for one anytime soon. I still ride my alloy. The KOM was set on an alloy sprint, with like fucked up bar tape.
Might be controversial. I'd say chamois cream. Never used it myself.
Yeah, put that in the sea.
Yeah, I have stopped using it a long time ago.
Right through the pain.
I think you're just as well off using a bit of moisturizer, a bit of body lotion, if anything, rather than paying £10 for a 100 or 150ml pot. I think if you're having issues down there, either you're riding too long, not washing your bibs, or your bibs are the wrong size.
Yeah, probably wrong bike fit if you need a lower chamois cream.
But some people swear by it. I feel sorry.
Lower your saddle.
So maybe we'll get. Maybe I need to push forward my agenda here about white bib shorts.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mathieu van der Poel. Mario Cipollini.
Your favourite Remco?
Remco's overrated. Just going to say that for the third time this week. What's your stand on the white bibs? And are we going to get a GFTL white bib suit? Because if that's the case, maybe I'll move back to London.
Probably not if they're still in the UK.
Yeah, UK is not the best place for it. They'll quickly turn into AG2R kit.
Brown bibs. I think in Mallorca they'd look great. But
I was telling guys about the white bibs. I think it could be a thing. You wear the white bibs on the hottest day of the year in
Oh,
UK. Nicest weather. Everybody
Plus
wears white
30.
bibs.
Plus 30 is white bibs territory.
Sunday best.
Yeah. There's always that one day in the summer, and then you maybe you should have white bibs for then hanging in the wardrobe.
They're a hard one to get right, I think. If you get the material too thin, you might be showing more than you want to. And if you catch a bit of rain and there's a bit of splashback, it doesn't look nice either.
And then who makes white bibs? Where do you go for white bibs?
Do
AliExpress.
you know any retailers?
China's finest.
Panamal do a pair, but I don't fuck with Panamal. Map does a pair that I believe
That's
are
normal.
as normal. You know, so my wife's French, and if someone says in professional cycling, "C'est pas normal," that means that they think a professional cyclist is juicing. And I don't think Panamal know that, because I think they're Danish. So I think they're like, hey, it's not normal, it's all quite out there. But if someone says it's Panamal, it means that they think someone's juicing.
Cobbles or mountains?
Mountains.
Really?
Yeah.
Where were you last year for Mallorca?
Yeah. Well, I'd like to think that at least with mountains, when you're suffering, you've got something nice around you to look at. Whereas on the cobbles, it's just covered in shit.
Violated.
Especially if it's a wet day.
I've never seen the appeal of cobbles, to be honest. Why would you bring your freshly serviced bike without any noise and just smash it into rocks? I just can't see the appeal. I can see the pleasure in watching professionals do it, but that's it.
I have to say, I'm kind of a cobble climbing guy.
You've got
Best.
KOM a semi right now.
So that means that hopefully we can count you in for the Spin Cycle Spring Social. Details to be fleshed out, but we're thinking it's going to be pints and pave, which is all the pave sections in London, and then you go to Lowlander and get more frites and drink beers.
It sounds sick.
That sounds good, yeah.
All whilst wearing white bibs.
We need that Belgian culture in UK.
Yeah, there'll be an award for the biggest aficionado, and there'll be an award for that.
And maybe it should finish at the Herne Hill. Yeah, you do all the cobble sections in London, and then you climb up Brixton Hill and finish the Herne Hill with a lap.
In the velodrome, like Roubaix.
Yeah.
You took us through that, your sticker, and was it Lewis in the fixed gear race when that bike nearly hit him?
Yeah.
I remember watching that video back and just thinking George made a stupid move. Lou had just
Best
been
move
getting
ever.
interested in fixie. He'd been really developing his craft, and saw George as a captain. And then George took the stupid move of undertaking him in this corner and just no space. And then he hits the barriers, and you just see him fly forward, and the bike is colliding into Lou, sticks out his arm to block it. And I was watching that video back, taking a screenshot of the moment that he connected. And thought, what were you thinking?
I was trying to overtake, but it took me a little bit longer, and then we got to that pinch point, and I could hear Lou like screaming, like, what are you doing, man? And like, I can't crash out Lou, like, fuck this. And I just went into a barrier. I felt like I was gonna kill him, so I was like, I can't do this. Like, I just gotta take myself out.
It wasn't long until Mark saw the appeal of what this could be and turned it into a meme. inspired by the Michael Jordan NBA logo. He just took the silhouette of the moment that Lou blocked the bike and put it into the, was it red and
Almost
blue?
like the Jumpman logo type.
The
thing.
Jumpman, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
but we put it on our club colours as well.
Guys, it's been amazing getting to know the three of you. Honestly, I see a lot of the GFTL kit you guys going around. I'm not up early enough to be in the park when you guys are there, but yeah, you got some nice kit. I know you guys are good fun because, yeah, I know you got some great kit. I know you've got really great people, and I really respect the fact that you're also dedicated to the fact that you've got those two records. So thank you for taking the time to be with us this evening, and we hope to see you soon.
Thanks for having us
So
on.
yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. Ready
Cheers.
for part 2. Always in for the beef in the park.
Cheers, lads.
Cool. Cheers, lads. Right.
Cheers.